Hi guys, welcome to 4K channel. Here I'm sharing with you these 4 banknotes from Khmer Rouge. So in my last video we talked about Cambodia and I kind of mentioned the differences between the very early Khmer Empire and how that is different from the later Khmer Rouge, a very evil empire. So let's talk about a little bit of history of Cambodia. So Cambodia used to be part of French colony, and in 1953 they gained their independence and it became a monarchy, and monarchy lasted until 1970. So during this time Cambodia was friends with North Vietnam, and United States didn't really like this policy of the monarchy, so there was a coup backed by US government where General Lon Nol overthrew the monarch and established what's called as Khmer Republic. So Khmer Republic was established in 1970. It was a nationalistic government, but that didn't last very long. Within 5 years, in 1975, Khmer Republic was replaced by Khmer Rouge, or the Democratic Cambodia. So Khmer Rouge is the infamous evil empire which is known for its human rights abuses and genocide. So Khmer Rouge was masterminded by Pol Pot. Pol Pot came into power in 1975, and Khmer Rouge regime lasted for 4 years. So in those 4 short years, this communistic regime basically, havocked through the entire Cambodia and left the whole country in ruins. Basically what they did was they did genocides of their own population. So millions of people were executed, and a vast majority of these people died of famine and diseases. Everyone was forced to wear the same color black clothing. The legal system was abolished. The banks were abolished. Organized religion was made illegal. Private property was seized, and the whole economy collapsed. And they also killed virtually all minority groups, including Vietnamese who were living in Cambodia at that time. And they also eventually start attacking Vietnam, trying to seize disputed territories. Eventually, Vietnam invaded Cambodia and put an end to the Khmer Rouge regime in 1979. So these banknotes were issued when the Khmer Rouge government was in exile. So even though they were ousted 4 years later in 1979, they were in exile, and they still controlled northern and western provinces in Cambodia. And in 1993, they introduced this currency. So these banknotes are basically banknotes that were pretty primitive in their design and printing. So what they did was they got hold of a printing press from Bangkok, and this printing press was used for printing lottery tickets. So they got hold of this printing press and started printing these banknotes. And these banknotes are basically printed on lottery paper. They have photographic images on front and back. And the interesting thing is the serial numbers are basically, there's same serial number on all banknotes, meaning if you have a 5 denomination banknote, the serial number on all of those 5 denomination banknotes are the same. since these were basically they were just printed one time, and there was no different serial numbers or varieties of this note. So I have here is 5, 20, 50, and 100 denomination. So a lot of these notes are counterfeited, so you have to be very careful if you buy these notes to make sure you don't fall into a trap. It's one way to tell that it's a counterfeit is to basically look at the writing. So this little writing here, up here on the top, and also up here in the front. On a counterfeit, this writing won't be as crisp, as detailed. So if you see it more fuzzy writing, then that's an indication that it's a photocopy or a reprint, not an original banknote. But guys, these banknotes are not very sophisticated. There's no watermark, and even a real banknote looks kind of fake because it's a really cheap attempt at printing a currency. So you know, even a real banknote will feel and look fake because it's more like a lottery paper than actual currency paper. So guys, we're gonna look at these banknotes individually. So these banknotes were printed in 1993, and they were around until 1999, because in 1999 is when Khmer Rouge was eventually dissolved. So even though they were in power till 1979, it was not until 1999, 20 years later, that they were completely gone and done with. So let's go ahead and look at these notes. We're going to look at the 5 denomination first. And on the front, we have kids harvesting vegetables. And we have some stone carvings on the left. So on the back of this note, we have a caravan of ox carts and the same stone carvings. On the 20 denomination, we have villagers and cattle in the front. And on the back, we have a kind of a busy street scene with vendors and people walking around and kids and some more carvings and statues on the side. On this 50 denomination, we have ox-driven carts plowing the fields, some carvings and statues. And on the back, we have farmers planting rice, so basically rice fields, and more carvings. And this is the last note I have. This is the 100 denomination. In the front, we have field workers harvesting the crop. And on the back, this is a little bit more interesting. So we have the temple Angkor Wat. So this is that Hindu temple in Cambodia, in the city of Angkor. And if you remember from my previous video on Indochina, this temple was built by Khmer Empire King Suryavarma, and this temple was dedicated to God Vishnu. And on the left here, we have these stone carved statues. So these are from a different temple, a temple that's located adjacent to and next to Angkor Wat. So the temple this temple is in what's called Angkor Thom. So that complex is next to Angkor Wat, and these stone carvings, there's 216 faces carved in stone, and these are very, very famous. And these are huge stone carvings. And basically, this temple was dedicated to King Jayavarman. So King Jayavarman, and some believe that these carvings are not Buddha, but actually carvings of King Jayavarman. And these are a tribute to Buddha, but the carving itself are not of Buddha, but the king himself. So, you know, the back of this note is pretty interesting, pretty beautiful. So guys, all of these 4 notes are interesting because they have a lot of historical significance. This is a painful reminder of very troubling times in Cambodia. Over millions of people were killed. You know, basically a Cambodian genocide. And so somehow Cambodians survived through this tough time in their history, and these notes are basically a reminder of all the atrocities committed under this evil regime. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, click subscribe and keep collecting.